guys, welcome back to A-level lessons. Alright, I know this upload is or at least it has come out after a while. I've been working on a new series, particularly for the J1s, which is going to be a guide to your project work. So be it whether you're a J1 now, in 2021, or whether you're a J1 further down the road, in 2022, 23, 24, 25, until, whenever, regardless of the year that you're in, project work is going to be something that you would have to do when it comes to the A-levels. So what we're going to do is I decided to start this project work series because I understand that a lot of you have been writing in asking for, how do you do project work? What are certain things you can take note of? So we're going to break it down very simply into the various components for, firstly, your written report. And then subsequently, if you guys need help for your oral presentation or your any of the other components, you can always just leave a comment down below and we will see what we can do about that. So today's first part is going to be covering the chapter 1 of your written report. Just bear in mind, a little disclaimer is that at the end of the day, I want you guys to follow whatever your school teachers are teaching you in school. This is just an additional guide for those of you guys who may be a bit more lost. It's not concrete, right? Different schools will practice different things. This is a guide that has allowed myself and many other people to achieve an A. So if you want to take some advice from this guide to project work, you could. If not, if you like to stick to purely whatever your project work teacher is saying, please do so, alright? Because I do not want to override them and, in the end, we have no idea who is accountable for what, right? So as far as possible, stick to whatever your teacher is saying. Listen to what they are teaching you guys and do accordingly. But if let's say you need an additional nudge, this could always be the additional resource for you online that you can always look to. So it's going to be a 6-part series. The first part today we're going to be covering is the introduction. The second part is going to be the hunt for a case study, followed by your third part, which is going to be your aims and objectives of your project. Part 4, we're going to be covering a proposed solution. And part 5, we're going to look at how can we evaluate. And finally, part 6, we'll look at how can we conclude the entire written report. So just bear in mind, this is only for written report. If you're doing other things like your R&R, your GPP, this may not exactly be relevant. This solely focuses on your written report as a whole. Alright, so let's start with the introduction. So the introduction basically introduces the entire topic or project. So topics, they have varied across different years. Every year, MOE or SEAB will release the topics for whatever your project works are going to revolve around. So some years it has been things like investment, it's been integrity, it could be along the lines of a phrase, right? It could be transformation. It could be a lot of different key ideas that basically it is up to you to decide how you want to branch out and work on different projects from there. So as far as possible, if your introduction can contain these components, it will be great. Sometimes different schools will teach different components to the introduction. So likewise, I'll leave it up to you and whatever your school has taught. This is a method that could be used by several schools actually. And you can consider using this to frame your introduction chapter. So the components are going to be an introduction to the problem, the reasons for the choice of the problem. Third one is going to be the current measures and its gaps. And the last component being a need for a case study. So just a brief introduction before we jump into our chapter 2 on case study. Alright, so the first component, an introduction to the problem. So your introduction to the problem can be a very, very simple 4 to 5 liner. And it's just going to be stating the issue at hand and why it is a problem. So be it whether you chose your topic number 1 or topic number 2, both of them would require an introduction to explain why this is an issue and how are you planning to solve it. So state what this project aims to tackle, whatever your project work is, the case study that you will be examining, as well as how you'll be able to gain relevant information from the case study. So this could be one way of writing. Okay, another way would just be you just purely state what the project aims to tackle. It's purely up to you. So an example over here would be, this project aims to tackle the problem of children in Singapore not eating enough fruits and vegetables. So not eating enough fruits and vegetables is the issue in Singapore by incorporating gardening into children's lives. So this obviously is going to be one of the solutions that is going to be proposed later on. So in order to do so, we would study case study A, whatever the case study is, because our project is also fighting for a social cause. So give a short explanation why this case study is a justifiable case study to use. Hence, it will be beneficial to us in deriving our learning points. So this is just to add an additional touch to ensure that the introduction sounds well-rounded as a whole. So, next part, which will be your next 1.2 or whatever you're naming it, will be the reasons for the choice of this problem. So, discuss the significance of this issue that you have chosen and why there is a need to tackle it. So, your reasons have to be substantiated with proper resources, and here is where you start to cite and add to your bibliography, which we will cover if you guys need on how you can go about doing this biblio. If you do not need help, then it's also fine. We may cover it. If you guys need it, do leave a comment down below. So an example over here would be increased phone usage amongst youths have caused a significant increase in sleep deprivation. And then you have got your little superscript 2 over there, which stands for a reference to a certain resource, which you will have in your biblio. And of course, you can state who it was written by, what this article was from. So for example, Ming 2019. This is all usually going to be automatically populated when you add in various resources to your biblio. So this is just something to take note, that when you're looking at the reasons for the choice of whatever the issue that you have chosen, you have to make sure that it is properly substantiated, right? Don't choose a topic or a problem that actually is not a problem in today's society, right? Because resources around the world, articles are stating that it is not an issue. So you want to choose something that has got proper evidence to show that it is a pertinent issue and it's something that requires correction, right? So that is for the reasons. Next part will be the current measures and its gaps. So research has to be conducted to identify the various current measures. So current measures are basically current strategies, current solutions that have been implemented to curb this issue at hand. So whether they have been successful or not is a different matter. That is what you're going to be assessing. But you have to identify, alright, this issue that you're looking at, does it already have solutions in place? If it does, why has it been successful? Or why has it been limited in a certain extent, hence requiring your solution? Okay, so upon research, there's a need to assess the various gaps and limitations, hence the need for your solution. That is what we're trying to get at the end of the day. Is we're trying to prove that yes, this is an issue, and yes, there have been certain solutions that have been introduced to tackle it, but these are not enough, right? We need our project to come in to fill up any of these loopholes, any of these gaps that have already been put out there in society, hence showing the significance and the importance of your project. So you can break this up into various subsections as well, 1.3.2, 1.3.3, depends on how you label it, to identify the different measures that have been introduced. So I'll cover this later on, a rough format on this 1.3.2, 1.3.3 stuff you would find out at the end of the video. Alright, you can also make a section for the gaps and format it well. Right, format it well basically means ensure that they are properly, that it's clear, right? It's clear on what it is saying. For example, your measure 1 could be, let's say this organization only requires that domestic producers reduce their waste at the last stage. So the gap in this could be that it prevents a holistic recycling system across the entire production process. And this gap is going to be something that you want to tackle later on with your project. Right, you can see where this is going, right? So you're identifying the measure to say that yes, it does do something, but the gap is that it does not tackle everything. Hence, our project later on will show how this gap will be filled up. Simple, simple, simple. Alright, the last part of your introduction will be introducing why is there a need for a case study. So as a result of the various lapses in your current measures, you now stand on justified ground to propose a relevant case study to the project. Take note of the word relevant. Don't just produce a case study or propose a case study that has got no relevance at all to whatever the issue is, right? For example, you're looking at the case for the digital industry that is, let's say, transforming, and you propose a solution regarding agriculture and farmers, right? There could be links, but it's very, very minimal, and it's very, very hard to draw proper concrete learning points from each other, right? Because there's just simply not enough foundation to the two of them. So case studies do not have to be limited to the local context. Feel free to look for case studies across the world. Of course, this will depend on whatever your teacher is saying. So likewise, you can seek your teacher for consultation on this. So how do you select a good study, right? A good case study. So look for several things. First of all, you have to decide if the aim and the cause of this case study are similar to your project. Assess the success of the case study in fulfilling similar objectives. Let's say this case study aims to achieve, let's say, zero pollution of plastic, right? But you look at the reports that have come out regarding this, let's say the sustainability reports, you find that the plastic waste is still very high. Obviously, they have not been successful in meeting this goal of, let's say, reducing plastic waste, right? Showing that this case study obviously is not credible enough for you to use as a strong foundation to build your project on. So this is something that you can consider. Last one is to observe their structure. So how do they operate as a business? What is their producer-consumer relationships? What are their social aims, social causes, right? All of these are areas that you can look at depending on what is relevant to your issue. So all in all, the intro can look something like this, right? You have got, let's say, chapter 1, the introduction, and then of course this is your table of contents. You have got 1.1, which is the introduction to the problem. 1.2, the reasons for the choice of the problem. 1.3, the current measures and its gaps. 1.3.1, the first current measure. Of course, you can add 1.3.2, 1.3.3 on, let's say, organization B, company C, whatever it is. 1.3.2 over here in this case would be the gaps of the current measure. So allocate one section just to identify the gaps of the various current measures. And then 1.4, which should be your need for a case study. So in essence, this is really what we're looking at when we look at an introduction. This is how you would end it off, right, with your need for a case study. So that it acts as a very, very nice transition into chapter 2, which will be on the case study itself. Alright, so that is all for this first part on project work. I hope you guys did learn something, right, for your introduction. So if there was any part that has been helpful, please do go ahead and give this video a like. It really does help me a lot. And if you have any questions on chapter 1 introduction, or even if it's not chapter 1 related, let's say for other areas of project work, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. I will answer them as well, and whenever I have time. And please also feel free to check out our Instagram for more updates on when we'll be uploading the next few parts to this PW series, as well as our website alevellessons.com if ever you're interested in, let's say, geography tuition or any of the other subjects as well. You can check it out over there. So that is all I have for this video. I'll see you guys in part 2, which is going to be on the case study itself, right? What are things you're going to be looking out for when choosing a case study, things that you have to write in your written report. And that's all. I'll see you guys then. Till then, have a good one. Bye bye.